doing that on data, you can do it on your phone, or would you still like to revert to manual finger rules? Can I get sort of a sentiment, so thumbs up or down, depending on whether you would prefer or not prefer to use a digital speakers form? Okay, I think I'm kind of seeing half here. No? Okay, so it seems like majority none, so we'll revert back to the manual finger rules. So because our scrutineers, we have two today, we have Daniel and Pearl from NUSPSA and BPSA. So they would need some time to actually recognize that you guys have had it hands up, and we also need time to recognize it as well. So just keep it up there for a while. Just some points to touch on is that we have EXCO in attendance for those of you who've not been to a GA before. EXCO is not really here to give our personal opinion, so we can give very factual information. If you have direct questions to EXCOs, we can give non-biased, non-personal information. But other than that, you cannot ask us for our personal opinions on certain people, on certain matters. Also reminding you that you have the right for intra-delegation time if you need to, and just reminding you guys that you guys have maximum of 3 official delegates registered on your credential forms. So if you guys have more than who's on your credential form, I would kindly remind them to move to the back of the room so they can be of observer status. Yeah, so, yeah, that will be CAPSI Canada. Okay, cool. So just as a brief note to remind you of the finger rules, we went over this in GA training, but it would be new comment, direct comment. We have a motions in force for procedural motions to use finger rules. So that would be this one, III on Zoom. So this one for procedural motions, technicals, clarification, point of order, and point of information. You know, if you need help, you can just raise a new comment and we'll help you. It's fine. Also, just remember during your discussions to be concise and only comment on what you think would actually add value, because obviously we have a limited time to go over a lot of agenda items, and we don't ideally want to go to online sessions. Okay, you guys have anything you guys wanted to add? Okay. Like we did at the beginning of the assembly, for informal board voting, when Yasmin, who is our chair, wants to sort of see the sentiment of the room, she will ask you to do, instead of emotion cards, we'll be using this or this to see how the floor is like. That reminds me, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Sue and I'm the IPSF Secretary General. So one of my portfolio responsibilities is to oversee the GA. And then Yasmin, who's sitting here, she's my parliamentary coordinator, and one of her duties is to chair the GA. So you'll mostly be seeing and hearing from her instead of me. Anything else EXCO or Motions Committee want to raise? Yeah, I mentioned. Anything else? Oh, yeah. We haven't gotten to that, so I'll acknowledge that when we... Okay. Cool. So just to give you a rough run of how today's going to go, we'll be on the tentative agenda, what agenda points we are hoping to cover today. So I'll follow that, but we'll also have a mock motion between point 3 and 4, so right before the appointment of the chairperson, which is our first actual motion. And before we do that, before the mock motion, we'll have to resume standing orders. So just reminding you, we'll need a proposer and a seconder to resume standing orders. Anything else? Yeah? Scopes Algeria, Hamza, observer. Just for Scopes Algeria, if you are an individual member and not a part of the delegation, you would have to sit in separate tables because you're not registered on the credential form. Sorry. Sorry to make you lonely. Okay, so hopefully this is very familiar to you guys from the RAs. Has anybody never attended an RA or a GA before? Okay, so it should be straightforward. I'll get straight into it then. Okay, so starting with point 1, opening of the meeting. As you guys know, the IPSF General Assembly is the highest decision-making body of the Federation. So yeah, we are very privileged to have you here, and we hope to have very fruitful discussions and decision-making over the next 5 or 6 days. And then with that, we'll get straight into the roll call. So I'll just remind you that any member organizations who are not there at the time of roll call will lose their voting rights until the next roll call. Also, if you're the last remaining official delegate from your member organization for full members, and you leave the room during the session, you'll also lose your voting rights until the next roll call. So just to have that in mind. Okay. So as I'm calling out your names, Daniel and Pearl, who are scrutineers today, will be handing out your voting cards. Okay. You good? Okay. I said Bulgaria, AFOP Austria, CAPC Canada, CZPSA Czech Republic, PPSA Poland delegated to CZPSA Czech Republic, NF France, BPHD Germany, not here? Okay. BPHD Germany, ISMA FASI Indonesia, PPHSF Pakistan delegated to ISMA FASI Indonesia, IPHSA Iran, EPSF Egypt delegated to IPHSA Iran, APS Japan, MyPSA Malaysia, KMPSV Netherlands, QPH US Qatar delegated to KMPSV Netherlands, FJC PPHA Philippines, NZFSO New Zealand delegated to FJC PPH Philippines, FF Portugal, LPSA Lebanon delegated to FF Portugal, KNEPS Republic of Korea, JPSA Jordan delegated to KNEPS Republic of Korea, FESFA Romania, NUSPS Singapore, NEPSA Australia delegated to NUSPS Singapore, SPSA Slovakia, DSFSA Slovenia, CPSA Croatia delegated to DSFSA Slovenia, PSET Thailand, TPAYC Turkey, BPSA United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, APHA ASP United States of America. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Can you just raise it higher so we can count the number of voters in the room, please? Thank you. Yeah. Can you hold them separately, please? Thank you so much. Yep, so we've confirmed 29 voters in the House. Thank you so much for holding them up. So if you can update the parliamentarian system accordingly, please. Thank you. Okay, so now before we get to the first mock motion, we'll need to resume standing orders. Can we get a proposer and a seconder, please? Okay, so we have, do we need them the mic? Okay, we have proposer KNPSV Netherlands and then seconded by BPSA UK. Okay, standing order resumed. So we'll move on to a mock motion. You have them up? We'll just give them a second to put it up. I just wanted to see if they wanted to do the handing out microphone thing. Okay. The 69th IPSF General Assembly mandates that all official delegates who do not attend the FIP session shall receive a fine of €2 towards the IPSF Development Fund. This motion shall not be reviewed once it has been achieved. Okay, I'll open the floor for discussion, and that was proposed by EXCO. This is a chance to practice raising comments or clarifications. It's just a practice run. We're definitely not actually proposing it. So utilize as a chance to practice. Okay?
IPSF Austria. When is the fine due? How long is the time to pay the fine of the €2?
Yeah, so was it a new comment? Yeah, so I don't know, it's a fake motion, but I don't know, I'll say 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Thank you, IPSF Austria. Anybody else have any comments or points of discussion? Yep.
Beatriz, IPSF Portugal. Can you hear me? Okay. In IPSF's opinion, this motion should be extended to all the sessions in the event and not only to the FIP session.
Sorry, I don't think I caught that properly. So what were you suggesting?
Beatriz, IPSF Portugal. IPSF's suggestion is that the motion should be changed to all sessions instead of just the FIP session.
Okay, so you're proposing an amendment. Okay, we would need a seconder for the amendment to go through. Do we have a seconder? Okay, seconded by KNEP's Republic of Korea. Oh, okay, sorry. Before that, we have a direct from Anna France.
Pauline, ANEP France. ANEP do not agree with this motion and with IPSF because €2 may be a lot for some countries, so we do not think it's a good idea to pay for not being, because we're still an association, so it's not fair for students. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ANEP France. They're going to accept the amendment. Okay. Whether they're going to accept the amendment. Okay. Do you accept the amendment? I can't hear you.
Beatriz, IPSF Portugal. Can you clarify on which amendment we are talking about? The one we proposed, or ANEP's amendment?
Sorry, I think I'll need the clarification back. I can't hear properly what's being said.
You asked if we accepted the amendment. Are we talking about the amendment ANEP proposed? It's not? Oh, okay. Then we can, yes, we accept the amendment that we made. We kind of proposed it.
Okay, so was the amendment accepted? What? Okay, sorry. I couldn't hear. Okay, so sorry, because it's a fake motion, I forgot that the EXCO is the proposer of the motion. So do EXCO accept the amendment proposed? Okay, so amendment rejected. So, yeah, is there a seconder to the amendment? Okay, seconded by KNEP's Republic of Korea. Okay, so then it's accepted. Open the floor for discussion, sorry. On the amendment. Any comments? Or points of discussion? Okay, if none, then we'll close the floor and then we'll vote on the amendment. Okay, so all those voting for the amendment, please raise your voting cards. I think you guys can just count here. 11. 11? Okay. Did somebody just add a vote? Okay, perfect. Okay, you may lower your voting cards. All those voting against, please raise your voting cards. Yeah, thank you. And all those abstaining? Okay. No, we have 29. Oh, right. Just a reminder that you can't abstain because it's a procedural motion to amend the motion, so you'll either have to go for or against. Okay, should I just start again? Yeah, so should I start again? Yeah. Okay, so you can't abstain, we'll start again. Okay, all those voting for, please raise your voting cards. All those voting against, please raise your voting cards. Okay, cool. Yeah, so the motion, the amendment, yeah, the amendment has been rejected because there are 16 against and 13 for. Okay, so then we go back to discussing the original motion. I'll open the floor for discussion. Okay, I see no comment. I'll close the floor for discussion. We'll proceed to voting. All those voting for the original motion, please raise your voting cards. Okay. All those voting against, please raise your voting cards. Okay. Yeah, and thank you. And abstaining? We are, okay, missing 3 votes, but nobody's put their voting cards up for abstaining. So we'll have to do them again. So guys, please make sure you vote. Okay. All those voting for, please raise your voting cards. Okay, all those against, please raise your voting cards. Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you. So motion not passed with 24 votes against and 5 for. Okay. Thank you guys for sitting through the motion. Yeah, I put it on. I announced them. Oh, you want me to do this? Okay. Yeah, so motion rejected. Okay. Okay, so we'll move on to the first actual motion. And thanks for being patient with me. It's my first physical GA, so. Okay, so moving on to motion 1 proposed by EXCO. This, the 69th IPSF General Assembly appoints Ms. Yasmin Al-Ghahari, EPSF Egypt, as chairperson of the 69th IPSF General Assembly. This motion shall not be reviewed once it has been achieved. Okay, now I'll open the floor for discussion. Okay, I see no comments. I'll close the floor for discussion. We'll proceed to voting. All those voting for, please raise your voting cards. Okay, thank you. So that was 29 votes for, so the motion's passed.
I think for the future, we normally start like
Against.
abstain,
Mm.
and then if it's 0 and 0, then it's unanimous. We don't have to count 29.
Okay. Okay, so then now that Ms. Yasmin has been appointed as the chair of the assembly, I'll pass the floor to Yasmin.
Hello, wait, you need to get this closer. Hello, everyone. Moving on to our next agenda point, which is acknowledgement of observers and organizations applying for membership. We currently have no external observers in the room, so we'll move on to the next agenda point, which is greetings to the meeting and apologies for absence. We have received 4 greetings for this General Assembly from HLMs. You can find them uploaded on the GA folder. And we have received apologies from the absent EXCO members, who are Mr. Kishan Kunalan, IPSF Treasurer, Ms. Natalia Skura, Chairperson of Internal Relations, Mr. Nazim Bershe, Chairperson of Media and Publications, Ms. Maria Halima, Chairperson of Pharmacy Education, Ms. Yumna Atif, Chairperson of Student Exchange, Mr. David Fagan, Chairperson of African Regional Office, and Ms. Gabriela Jimenez, Chairperson of the Pan American Regional Office. Now we move on to the next agenda point, which is motion number 2. What? I already greeted them. Motion. Can everyone hear me clearly? Thumbs up. Thank you. Okay, so motion number 2. The 69th IPSF General Assembly appoints Mr. Sebastian Bailey, CZPSA Czech Republic, Mr. Luka Tumasic, Alumni Croatia, and Mr. Franz Matthew Tekerderen, UFA Philippines, as members of the Motions Committee for the duration of this General Assembly. This motion shall not be reviewed once it has been achieved. Now we'll open the floor for discussion. Close the floor for discussion. Move on to voting. All those against? All those abstaining? Motion carried unanimously. Next motion, please. Motion number 3. The 69th IPSF General Assembly appoints Ms. Shahda Omilatifa, HMF AP ITB Indonesia, Mr. Diwa Ayu Trisna, Isma Farsi Indonesia, as meeting secretaries for the duration of this General Assembly. This motion shall not be reviewed once it has been achieved. Now opening the floor for discussion. Closing the floor for discussion. Moving on to voting. All those against? All those abstaining? Motion carried unanimously. Next motion, please. Motion number 4, proposed by executives. This, the 69th IPSF General Assembly appoints Ms. Fataya Alia, HMF AP ITB Indonesia, Ms. Bayu Phenomena Ilham, HMF AP ITB Indonesia, Ms. Shafina Kalma Naila, HMF AP ITB Indonesia, Ms. Medina Marsha Dewi Putri, HMF AP ITB Indonesia, Mr. Daniel McDonald, BIPSA United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, Ms. Pearl Kuswara, NUSPS Singapore, Ms. Isbar Hassan, KNPSV Netherlands, and Ms. Jolene Tan, NUSPS Singapore, as scrutineers for the duration of this General Assembly. This motion shall not be reviewed once it has been achieved. Opening the floor for discussion. Any questions? Okay. Mike with Kane.
Floor, KNPSV the Netherlands. The name of the association is actually with dots in between the letters, so could you maybe correct our name?
Can you raise your
I'm
voice?
sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. The name of our association actually has dots in between the letters, so could you maybe correct that for us? Thank you.
Yes, okay. Any other questions? Now we'll close the floor for discussion. Moving on to voting. All those against? All those abstaining? Motion carried unanimously. Moving on to the next motion. Motion number 5, proposed by executives. This, the 69th IPSF General Assembly appoints Mr. Musa Fofana, AEP Mali Mali, Ms. Ibtihal Sayed, EPSF Egypt, GPSA Ghana, APF Portugal, and BEMFF UNAIR Indonesia as members of the Auditing Committee for the 2023-24 mandate. This motion shall not be reviewed once it has been achieved. Opening the floor for discussion. Now closing the floor for discussion. Moving on to voting. All those against? All those abstaining? Motion carried unanimously. Next motion, please. Motion number 6, proposed by executives. This, the 69th IPSF General Assembly accepts and adopts the agenda of this General Assembly. This motion shall not be reviewed once it has been achieved. Opening the floor for discussion. Any comments? Closing the floor for discussion. Moving on to voting. All those against? All those for? I missed that, sorry. Yeah, no. I know. All those abstaining? Motion carried unanimously. Next motion, please. Next motion, please. Next motion. It's up? It's not up here. Okay, there it is. Motion number 7, proposed by executives. This, the 69th IPSF General Assembly accepts and adopts the minutes of the 68th IPSF General Assembly. This motion shall not be reviewed once it has been achieved. Now opening the floor for discussion. I see no comments, so closing the floor for discussion. Moving on to voting. All those against? All those abstaining? Motion carried unanimously. Moving on, next motion, please. Motion number 8, proposed by executives. This, the 68th IPSF General Assembly accepts PSAZ Zambia as a full member of IPSF and welcomes them to the Federation. Now we'll be playing a presentation. Since the GA time has moved forward for an hour, so we're contacting all those that were ready, so we're just connecting. So if you just wait patiently with us, we'll present. Can the media team please switch the screen to Zoom? Have they joined? We have a point of order, Ms. Ryan.
Ryan, President, so point of order, we missed one agenda point before we arrived here. It is about membership with organizations.
Okay.
Are you able to hear me? Can I get the microphone from Secretary News? Thank you so much. So I am president. We have missed one agenda point, which is announcement of membership of member organizations losing membership. Thank you so much. I will need it.
Thank you. So,
You give me the floor, yes. We did point of order. All good. Yeah, but we can discuss the first agenda point.
okay, so we'll go on to the agenda point for memberships, for organizations losing membership. I'll give the floor to Ms. Ryan.
Thank you so much. So regarding the updates that are like points of information that are usually given by the treasurer is sadly not here with us, so I will be doing that. For the list of member organizations losing membership, we have Afro Argentina, CAPSA Cameroon, IPST Iraq, CAMPSA Cambodia, and also Pharma Liberia. Just a point of information that this list is not the final list of members losing membership, because they still have they will be paying, or they will have to pay their outstanding debt by the 13th of September, and the final list is usually also shared by the 1st of October. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. N. Going back to the motion. Do we have them in the Zoom? Not yet. Media team, can I ask if you could see those in the Zoom? The member organization in the Zoom? A yes, a no? Okay, so we have the member organization in the Zoom. Can we ask to play the video presentation? Media team, can you play the video presentation?
Can I get feedback from you? Oh, can I have feedback from this?
I know, that's why I said the media, I didn't say, don't they have the video? He said they have the video.
Allow me to introduce to you the Pharmaceutical Students Association of Zambia, or PSAS for short. PSAS was formed by young visionary leaders who came together in 2019 and 2020 and was officially launched in 2021. It was formed to unite all the pharmacy students in Zambia and act as a bridge between professional bodies and the students. It represents over 3,000 students in counting. It also represents recent graduates. Of our values, aims, and objectives includes to serve as a sole body for making representation to the profession, authorities, and other organizations on behalf of the students to project the values and image of the association on the national scene and international scene. The PSAS Executive Council includes the President, Vice President, Secretary General, Treasurer General, Public Relations Officer, Organizing Secretary, International Relations Officer, National Health Coordinator, the Editor, and ex-official. The Student Council. We are also privileged to have three patrons: the Director of Pharmaceutical Services at the Ministry of Health, the Serving President of the Pharmaceutical Society of Zambia, Mr. Kennedy Saini, and the Senior Pharmacist selected by the student, Dr. Lloyd Matoy. As a growing association, to put ourselves out there, we have conducted many activities to help our students and other people outside the profession to know who we are, to know what pharmacy is. Some of the activities we have conducted include the annual pharmaceutical symposium. We had our first one in 2021 and it has been a tradition ever since. This year we're going to have it in October. We hope to see many of you there. Last year we were graced with our friends from Tanzania. They attended the symposium. We have different activities. Our students do presentation, poetry. We also have a trivia. In 2021, University of Zambia took the trophy home. 2022, Indian University took it home. We can only hope. I wonder who's going to take it home this year. All work, no play makes John a dull boy. PSAS conducts inter-university sports, social events, and recreational activities to ensure that our students, as they are going to serve the community, they are ready in all aspects, academically and socially. Students are also privileged to attend the Pharmaceutical Society of Zambia Annual Scientific Conference and AGM that takes place in Livingstone, the heart of Zambian tourism, where you get to see the mighty Victoria Falls. We hope to host you one day so that you can experience the beauty of Zambia. Other activities, we attended the People That Deliver 2022 Global Indaba, thanks to our patron, Dr. Matoe. We also had the opportunity to attend the European Union Zambia Pharmaceutical Manufacturing Forum. We also commemorate the World Pharmacists Day. We are affiliated to IPSF as member in association. We have also applied for full membership. We have participated in industrial skills events, leadership and training programs. We're also actively taking part in webinars that have been conducted. We attended the 10th CAPSA IPSF Afro-African Pharmaceutical Symposium that took place last year in Tanzania, and some of our students will be going to this year's Pharmaceutical Symposium that will be taking place in Ghana. Our students are well acquainted with IPSF and are actively taking part in all its activities. We would love to be full members of IPSF because IPSF is a global platform that Zambian students can draw from in terms of association and student networking, compelling projects and student exchange programs that Zambian pharmaceutical students can benefit from, the virtual learning platforms on different student empowering programs, and enhance student exposure and academic appreciation. How do we plan to pay for membership fee and send delegates for future events? PSAS conducts different fundraising events. We have open air clinics, fundraising walk, symposiums, sports events, and other social events such as interprofessional dinners and other activities. We also have our member in associations pay affiliation fee to PSAS. We also get sponsorship from our patrons and other pharmaceutical and non-pharmaceutical organizations. Are we looking to join student exchange programs? Affirmative. It would be really amazing.
Thank you so much for your attention. It was lovely interacting with you. Sending love from Zambia.
Thank you so much for this presentation. Moving on to discussion. Is that point of information? Point of information? Point of information?
Thank you, Chair. This is Heidi from BMFUI Indonesia. I would like to ask the executive committee if it would be possible to give Ms. Yasmin a chair to sit down during the whole General Assembly. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, I'm fine. Thank you so much. I'm fine. Thank you. It's not point of, okay. A point of order, this isn't a point of information, but thank you so much for the consideration. Thank you. Okay, now opening the floor for discussion. Any questions? Oh, 1 point. We have Anif France. We have Anif France.
Pauline Anep France. You previously applied to be a member organization and your application wasn't accepted because of the constitution. We wanted to know what was the issues with the constitution.
Can you please raise your voice? Repeat the question and raise your voice.
No problem. Pauline Anep France. Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay. You previously applied to be a member organization and your application wasn't accepted because of the constitution. We wanted to know what was the issues with the constitution. Thank you.
Thank you. And in France, giving the floor to PSAZ Zambia.
Okay, my name is Panashi Nomujo, Zambia. In line to what was asked, our constitution wasn't highlighting whether we were a association or independent. Since IPSF and wanted to see.
Okay, so we have a technical KNPSV. Give her a mic.
The sound for one be lowered, and we were also not able to understand the answer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Media team, can you please lower the volume? And PSAZ Zambia, can you please try to sit in a better connection? Stabilize your connection?
Okay, noted. Can you
Thank
now
you.
hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay, so as I was saying before, our constitution didn't exactly highlight if we were religious or non-religious. And also we were supposed to specify how we were going to incorporate the contact officer and our international relations office. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have KNPSV Netherlands. The floor is yours.
Floor, KNPSV the Netherlands. The CP and SEO are not part of the EXCO. How will you make sure there's always someone available? Thank you.
Now giving the floor to PSAZ Zambia.
So we have what we call an international relations office, whereby it constitutes of an international relations officer and some executive and some non-other executive members. So from there, that's where we pick our contact person, since he or she will not be part of the executive. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any more comments? Oh, okay. FF Austria.
Alex, FF Austria. You state in Article 2 that the organization is non-religious, as also necessary for IPSF and we discussed last year. However, in the constitution, 3 times at least is God mentioned, and I swear in the name of God and things like this. How do you feel does this work together?
Okay, thank you. Giving the floor to PSAZ Zambia. The floor is yours, PSAZ Zambia. Did you hear the question?
Okay. Yeah, no, I've heard the question. I was waiting for you to allow me to answer. So we aligned that PSAZ is an association that's non-religious, and though Zambia is God sent, that's a totally different entity from our association. Since the Pharmacy Association is independent, but then it follows the Pharmaceutical Society Association rules, which says that we are non-religious and we are totally independent. So the statement is on behalf of the country, which is Zambia, but Pharmaceutical Society, Student Association of Zambia, is non-religious and independent. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? We have a direct from AFOP Austria.
Alex, AFAP Austria. Would it make sense then change in the constitution the parts that mention God explicitly, like already mentioned in last year's GA?
Thank you. Now the floor is yours, PSAZ Zambia.
Thank you. I think those changes were rectified and amendments were made. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any new comments? We have EFSA Iran.
Dorian EFSA Iran, regarding what you... Dorian EFSA Iran, regarding what you mentioned, you're planning to join the STEP program. I just wanted to know if you have any preparation for that or not. Thank you.
Thank you, EFSA Iran.
Okay, so sorry. So in regards of that, PSAZ is still in establishment. We are now currently in our 3rd year. So we are not going to establish the SEP constitution direct soon after we are accepted into full membership. Right now we are undertaking lessons also from the Pharmaceutical Society of Zambia, which is the main motherboard of the Zambian society. And with that, when we are fully established, we are willing, and they are also willing to also collaborate with us in student exchange and internship. So for our sponsorship and finances based, they will be coming directly from our motherboard, which is the Pharmaceutical Society of Zambia. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a new point from APF Portugal. The floor is yours.
Valeria APF Portugal. First of all, thank you for your application. On the Constitution Working Committee review, it is said that the association doesn't specify their direction of being non-governmental, non-religious, and non-profit, but on the Constitution from 2021 that we have on the drive, it says that the Pharmaceutical Students Association of Zambia shall be non-governmental, non-political, non-religious, and non-profit student-led organization. Was this part taken from the current Constitution, or is it still there? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Giving the floor to PSAZ Zambia.
To the changes that were made to the current amendments of the Constitution that was sent, these changes were made whereby we highlighted that we were non-religious and we made suitable changes compared to the one that we submitted last time. Thank you.
Thank you. Clarification from APF Portugal.
IPF Portugal. I'm sorry, but I did not understand if it is still written there if they are non-governmental, non-profit, and non-religious. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll have to take the point of information first from APF Austria.
Alex, AFIP Austria, it's written in Article 2 at the very end.
Okay, we have a direct from APF.
IPF Portugal. The constitution we have is from 2021. Thank you.
Okay, giving the floor to PSAZ Zambia.
Thank you very much. As an association, we received amendments from the Constitution, which we submitted before the World Congress VTO. Sorry. As an association, we received a constitution that needed to be amended, and we did so during the whole of last year, from the last time that we held the World Congress in 2022. Thank you.
We have a direct from APF.
IPF Portugal. So I wanted to ask, why isn't the current constitution uploaded to the drive? Thank you.
Thank you. The floor is with PSAZ Zambia.
May you kindly repeat the question, please?
IPF Portugal. I don't know if this question would be like too soon, maybe, but why isn't the updated version of the constitution in the drive folder? Because the one that we have here is from 2021. Thank you.
Thank you. Giving the floor to Ms. Sue, executive.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I might need to get back to you on this one after referring to the chairperson of internal relations, because their portfolio at the coordinators pass us the membership applications. I'll get back to you after contacting them now.
Thank you. Do we have any new comments? Indonesia, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. This is Heidi from BMFUI Indonesia. We would like to ask PSA Zambia. It is written here in your presentation that the way you plan to send official delegates to IPSF events is through fundraising ventures and sponsorship. But seeing that you're applying as a full member, it means that you will have voting rights if you're accepted. That means you have the obligation to practice your votes in Afro RA and also IPSF GA. That means you have to make sure that you can send official delegates every single year. What happens if you don't receive any sponsors or these ventures that you mentioned in your presentation? What happens if they don't work? Do you have any backup fees, for example, from your membership that you can use to still send your official delegates to IPSF events every year? Thank you.
Thank you. PSAZ Zambia, the floor is yours.
Okay, so as also in part of our presentation, we highlighted that besides our own membership, which is that student pharmacy schools in Zambia affiliate to PISAS at the beginning of each mandate. Each pharmacy school, currently we have about 6 pharmacy schools who at the beginning of each mandate, they give out what we call an application, an affiliation fee, which is pegged at a respective fee, whereby also changes take place during the year. And also, in our presentation, we alluded that we have 3 patrons. Our patrons have been situated in a way that the first one is the Pharmaceutical Society of Zambia president, whereby we also submit to them a yearly mandate budget, and we receive funds from them at the beginning of the quarter. And also the other one is linked to the Ministry of Health. So from that, we are able to get funds from the government offices. We're also able to get funds from pharmaceutical companies within Zambia. So yes, we are fully capable. We're going to be receiving funds from our own pharmacy school association, member association, going to be receiving funds from the government. We have full support from them. And we're also going to be receiving funds from other pharmaceutical companies within Zambia and at large. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any comments? Any new comments? We have a point of information with Ms. Suin.
Yeah, thank you for the floor, Suin, IPSF Secretary General. So just a point of information from the internals team that in the folder that we've shared in the GA on the updated documents, there is a PPT and a PDF of the updated constitution, and that was the updated document after the CWC analysis as well.
Thank you. Any new comments? I see none, so we close the floor for discussion. We proceed to close discussion and voting. Scrutineers? We don't need scrutineers. Can we just give us a moment to close the Zoom? Close the Zoom. Media team? Okay, well, we need to close the live stream, media team, and we need scrutineers at the doors. Make sure they're closed. Everyone, please, official delegates, everyone close your laptops, phones off,